They've also bombed a building that they said contained, or that they were targeting there, a guy called Hashem Safieddine, who is a senior Hezbollah leader. He's the cousin of Hassan Nasrallah, and one of the sort of central committee who was tipped to take over from Nasrallah as leader. What we don't know is if he really was there. We don't know if that target was successful, and we don't know if he was indeed going to be the next leader. But anyway, that was the big overnight strike.
Now, where Israeli airstrikes have intensified overnight as the military targeted key figures in the Hezbollah leadership, people in more than 30 villages in the south of the country have been warned to leave the area and head north. It comes as the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei led Friday prayers in Tehran for the first time in nearly 5 years this morning. He praised his armed forces for the missile attack in Israel early this week and said that the October the 7th attack carried out by Hamas last year was a legitimate act. I'm joined now by the Times' Richard Spencer, who's reporting from Israel. Hello, Richard.
Good afternoon.
What are the main targets of these airstrikes then?
The main targets over the last few days have been Hezbollah infrastructure in Beirut, starting, of course, in Dahia, the area of southern Beirut, which is Hezbollah's fiefdom, if you like, the area it's most closely associated with in Beirut, where quite a lot of its officers were, and where, of course, Hassan Nasrallah's leader, was killed a week ago. It's the bombing has moved beyond that to various other neighborhoods, including central downtown Beirut, where they struck what they said was a Hezbollah intelligence facility. They've also bombed a building that they said contained, or that they were targeting there, a guy called Hashem Safieddine, who is a senior Hezbollah leader. He's the cousin of Hassan Nasrallah, and one of the sort of central committee who was tipped to take over from Nasrallah as leader. What we don't know is if he really was there. We don't know if that target was successful, and we don't know if he was indeed going to be the next leader. But anyway, that was the big overnight strike.
And the UN Food Agency has been critical of some of what Israel has been doing, not least bombing a road in Lebanon leading to the Syrian border. They say it will hamper people trying to flee the fighting and slow the flow of goods into the country. Obviously, there's a big impact on civilian life when Israel goes after its terrorist adversaries. So, is that playing on the minds of the Israelis at all?
Not much. I mean, in the sense that Israel has a fairly clear operational chain of command and methodology, which we've seen over the last year, which their spokespeople have defended, saying that their primary purpose is to degrade these hostile networks, whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's Hamas. They try and avoid collateral civilian damage, but that can't be ruled out altogether. There's a particular issue there's similar issues in both Gaza and Lebanon. Lebanon's a more complicated case because it's a country that is, as a whole, is not at war with Israel. Hezbollah is a faction within that country that's at war with Israel, and because Lebanon is a small and divided country, Hezbollah's infrastructure is coterminous with civilian infrastructure because that's the way the country operates, but not in the straightforward way that is the case in a territory that's totally under one party's control, like Gaza and Hamas. So what you find is, I mean, it's obvious when you think about it. A road that's connecting Lebanon and Syria, there aren't many. That border is difficult and contested. Parts of it under the control of the Lebanese army, parts of it are informal, and parts of it under the control of Hezbollah. Those same informal routes that refugees use to get, they used to get from Syria to Lebanon during the civil war in Syria. Those are the same routes that informal routes that they're using to get back to Syria, and of course they're also the same routes that Hezbollah used to smuggle weapons from Syria into Lebanon. So So that's the issue that you're seeing there. Likewise in Beirut, where Hezbollah, as a state within a state, has its own civil defense forces, its own medics, its own hospitals even. And when Hezbollah targets a Hezbollah operation, is it targeting a military target because it's under the control of Hezbollah, which is a non-state actor operating within Lebanon, or is it targeting the civilian organs of a state of which Hezbollah forms part of the matrix of control and authority, if you like? That's what we see in Lebanon.
Well, very big questions for the international community to consider. Richard Spencer, Times Middle East editor, reporting from Israel.
صباح الخير يا اخي.
صباح.
الحمد لله على السلامة.
الله يسلمك. أنا مثل وصلت الكهرباء أنا. جاي أدي حق الأضرار. يصحين المنطقة.
أي أضرار منهم؟ الأضرار مش مبينة.
عمل له لا كبليت، لا تعملين، لا محطاتنا غاية. أهم حاجة نأذي بربنا.